They come from every corner of the world, every background, every story, different uniforms, different journeys, but one purpose: to serve the United States of America. That shared purpose doesn't end when the uniform comes off. It lives on in the millions of veterans, families, and supporters who continue to serve in their communities, in their advocacy, and through their voices. At Mission Roll Call, it's the strength of our community that drives our work and our impact. We listen. We ask questions that matter, and we turn your feedback into real action. Each month, thousands of veterans, family members, and supporters share their experiences and insights through our surveys, polls, and outreach. Your voice helps shape conversations across the country. Your participation in our polls and surveys has had a national impact. It's informed policymakers, guided legislation, and helped shape the way America understands what veterans truly need and how to support them. With your help, we've elevated these voices in Congress, in the media, and across communities nationwide. And we haven't done it alone. In 2025, Mission Roll Call strengthened partnerships and deepened collaboration with local organizations, proving we're more than logos on a page, but real partners in impact. Through shared research, data, and storytelling, from white papers and articles to on-the-ground outreach. Together, we reach those too often overlooked: rural veterans, families facing barriers to care, and those rebuilding connection and purpose after service. We're proving that when veterans unite, change follows. The military may be one of the last true melting pots, a place where people from every walk of life come together for one purpose: to serve our country. At Mission Roll Call, that sense of unity continues to guide us. One mission, one community, one voice amplified. Our work is not done.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome in again for another Mission Roll Call Town Hall. I'll be your host, Ray Whitaker. And as always, we have Mr. Jim Whaley. Jim, how are you today?
Doing great. Love that video. Just wonderful, right? Helps tell the story, uplifting, and excited about it. Thanks to the team for putting that together.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's easy to do videos like that when you have amazing veterans, family members, and supporters helping us, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly right.
I can't wait for this one. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, Jim, today. Obviously, the impact that we've had this year through the voices, through the research, for the advocacy team, with what they've been doing, through our content creation. I mean, there's just a lot going on. So
Yes.
the hope is kind of round out the year with some information about the stuff that we've been doing this year.
Right.
And then, of course, we'll end this thing off with a little bit, hopefully there at the end. So first thing, what you've been doing the last 30 days, Jim, anything to kind of bring out for everybody?
Well, I think two things. One is, compiling what we've done throughout the year. Sometimes it's hard to remember what you did in January and February months ago and see all the impacts that had. So I think aggregating all of that and really stepping back, and as we call, I think this is a natural time of the year where we kind of think about what we've done, and then we're starting to get ready to at least think about what we're going to do moving forward. So I think that was important. And the second piece is just to communicate, I think, to a lot of partners as we close out the year, thank yous to them, reaching out to them and kind of laying the framework going into next year. How can we continue to grow this? So I think those two things have been on my mind and on my desk to do. So that's good work. That's fun work.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the impacts that we have. And I know we're going to talk about the impact report here a little bit that's coming out. So that's sets that up pretty well.
Yeah. We'll do a little sneak peek. We had a couple sneak peeks today. I always love just kind of, giving folks an inside view of what we're doing, just so they know. So first, I want to start with a little bit of sad news for us as an organization. I know you know this. The team knows now. One of our content strategy director, Britt. For those that are here that are from the MRC team, Britt came onto the team right at the beginning.
Yeah,
Jim, I know you know this. Roger and I tried to go back and figure out what Britt's been doing. You know what I mean? We got to check, cross the T's and dot the I's to make sure she's been working. And I say that with all jokes, but it's unbelievable the amount of work that's actually been done. And you try to look at what we've done as an organization, 140 plus articles that she's been part of. And that doesn't even account for the amount of folks and things that she's done outside of that, right? Other people that have done things that have kind of come in. The orchestrating, when we come here, anytime you start a new organization, folks think that, hey man, it's easy. Throw a little bit of money at it and start rolling, and then you have it. But to do what we do, and I know for the folks that are here, you have to orchestrate a good content strategy that you then can push out and make the impact that you truly want to make. And, Britt, we hate to lose you. I'll tell you that much. We've said that before, but we know you're going somewhere to make just as much impact in another VSO. So for me anyway, and I know for the rest of the team, we're going to miss you. And I know you're not going to be far. We're going to stay in contact with you, but Jim, I just wanted to kind of push it over to you. I know she's been helping you with earned media. It's like, that's a whole nother side of this that she's been focused on. Yeah. So I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to say from your side.
Yeah, a lot. You're right. She started right from the beginning with us. And you think about it, we amplify the voice of veterans, and she's been the voice of MRC. Yeah. So that's how important her role is. I've had the opportunity at the end of my career to work in communications and public affairs, and then ran communications and marketing for two large organizations, Fortune 500 companies. And so I've worked with a lot of great communicators, a lot of great writers, content developers, and Britt stands high above all of those. I mean, she's a wonderful writer, wonderful storyteller, and can get to the emotion of it, but not lose it in the emotion, and tell a great story. And I can go on and on. But I am buoyed by the fact that she's continuing to be in our tribe of veterans support organizations. So she's going to continue that work. And I guess the last thing I would say is I am always generally happy when somebody gets promoted out of an organization that I'm part of. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can't believe they're leaving. I've done this for them, I've done that. And I just don't look at it that way. I always look at it as, hey, if they're getting promoted and they're going out and continuing their career, continuing to do good work, that's a validation that we did something right, that they flourished here, and they're going to continue in their profession and do good work. So I wish her Godspeed, and I know we'll stay in touch with her.
Yeah, just lucky to have a small part, and that's the whole team. So, Britt, thank you so much. Wanted to start you off because you really do mean a lot to not just us, but to the entire team. So thank you. Okay, Jim, so we want to kind of look back this year. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've learned, talking about articles. John, good to see you, man. Thank you as always for coming in and joining us. We appreciate you. Ruth, thank you as well for coming in. We got Zach, and then we got Down 1925. Appreciate you guys for coming in and just hanging out with us. That's very kind of you, as always. So Nate, if we can get you to pull up the article here, a look back at things we learned from our polls. This is one of the things that, Britt actually worked on, Jim, from her perspective. We did a lot of things in picking 10. I mean, I really feel like we could pick so much more, right? Like you just go across the things that we do, and it's the caliber of people that we have in the organization. And then obviously it's the feedback that we get from veterans and their families and supporters that allow us to have this. So one of the very first things that we had here is veterans want choice and flexibility. The Access Act was a huge part of this. I know yourself and Mike worked on this pretty heavily. 67% of respondents, whenever we did a survey, believe that legislation of Access Act for 2025 would improve their healthcare outcomes, right? Like they just want choices and they want a little bit of flexibility. Yeah. What is choice from your perspective? What does choice mean? Like what does that mean for a veteran? What does the Access Act help with associated with that? Because we know that not all medical fits everybody the same, right? Like it's a little bit different for each person.
I think generally the advantage here is that you're going to have some ownership in your healthcare. that you're going to be able to get health care when you need it, how you need it, where you need it. And one of the big criticisms of the VA has been over many years is that, hey, I need to get an MRI, and I'm in pain, and the schedule for them to do that, it takes 20 days or 30 days, or you get canceled and then moved to another day. Now with the Access Act, if they can't do that in a specific amount of time, in a specific amount of distance, they will have to use local organizations to do that. So it makes sense, right? I mean, if you have a hospital nearby that can do the same testing or administer the medical care that you need faster, then that makes sense. And this is particularly important to rural veterans and to veterans that are limited by access to a hospital or to a VA facility where it's too far away. So it's important that this happen. And I think what I was excited about when we looked at through the year what we were able to do, this was a confluence of not only being able to get unbelievable stats quick from our constituents and all the veterans that are on this call and that are going to watch this and then have taken our polls, but we were quickly able to give that to people in the House Veterans Affairs Committee and to the VA and to others. And they went like, wow, this is overwhelming numbers that says they're in support of this. So that changes kind of not only the tempo of the decision, but some people's decision process. So where before they were against it, now they're a little against it because they see overwhelmingly this is what veterans want. And this is where the power of our organization comes to play, because we can do those polls. It is apolitical. It's not our opinion, it's your opinion, and we can turn fast on it. And now that we're growing and we can get more of those numbers, it's so important. And then we can use that information in a very bipartisan way to try to affect change. And then, you know, our advocacy guy, Mike, can get this done and share this information with them. So it's powerful. And so access to healthcare is vital for veterans, changes lives. So on any given day when you feel like, you know, this is more to the team, right? Our own MRC team, you're like, oh, I've worked hard today, but I don't know what I really accomplished. You can always fall back on a couple of these things that we've been able to do, you know, throughout the year that has made significant impact in changing lives.
Yeah. And Joey, so Joey responded 30 days. If you're lucky, it took 7 months to get an appointment. And Joey, so when we kind of, you know, started this idea of what Mission Roll Call was, thanks to, you know, the late Bernie Marcus and just kind of the idea of supporting veterans and doing the best that we can to advocate for them. One of the things that we learned quickly was just that the information is not making it all the time from the bottom to the top, right? This is indicative of any organization. This is not, I mean, I know we're not an organization. We are, you know, the American public and veterans, but in some cases you're part of the greater organization. So that information doesn't always go up. So the way that some looked at it was like, oh, the problem is the primary care, right? It's taking too long to get there. Well, then we started the research and the surveys and this polls and all of this, because we're like, okay, man, we're getting all of this data from you. You guys provided this. So we're getting all of this information, and you start looking at it. All of that now we're providing, right? We're going out now, we're providing this information the best way that we can, as Jim was just talking about, to our leaders, the one that make the decision, let them know that, hey, listen, we have lots of people that are saying it's taken 7+ months to get into specialty care or care that is outside of the primary care. This is an issue, right? And that's not just for this one piece. So you're going to see us as we move into next year, because access to care in general is still one of the priorities that all of you took our surveys and asked us to continue on. You're going to see us spend this even more to really start to pull in more data and more data and more data to make sure that what we're providing to those that are making decisions, that they truly understand what's happening at the local level. And then those that are underserved kind of in areas where they don't have a lot of VA support or other things, sometimes it makes it harder. So Jim, the other thing that we had this discussion, kind of innovation is essential for wellness. I know for you and I was right before Mike came onto the team, you know, we'd had a really great conversation with Team Red, White, and Blue about the idea just health and wellness and fitness and like all the things that, that they're seeing. Veterans used to be at the top as far as wellness was concerned and their physical fitness. And now we've kind of went the other direction. And a lot of that's because of, combat and war and other things like that have kind of come. But so we did the poll, we pushed the poll out. We said, hey, what do you guys think? What kind of innovation do you want to see from your perspective? How can we bring medical care to you? What we learned is 74% of veterans said that they would use online portals to schedule and track care. So that's number one. So that's a different approach to care. And that's the one I wanted to focus in on in this whole thing. That's giving veterans, or in my mind, it's kind of going to veterans versus asking veterans to come to you, which helps a little bit with some of the problems where we always talk about where the underserved or those that are rural versus, you know what I mean? So I wanted to ask you, what can we learn from the wellness part? What can we learn from the innovation and maybe the directions that we can go to better serve veterans and their families?
Yeah, to me, this just shows that veterans and their families want to have this kind of ability to get on a portal, do an online or virtual type of meeting with a nurse practitioner or a doctor to get the health care that they need quickly, right? Because we all know most of the times we have to go to the doctor, it's not something that needs a full meeting on. You just need the doctor to prescribe something or to tell you what, and then get a prescription and then take care of it and to solve it quicker versus in waiting a week or so to go into the doctor's office to do it. So I think that's important. And I think it also shows that veterans want to have the latest process to be able to do things. And so they're not intimidated by the use of technology to do this. Now, that's not every demographic within veterans, but certainly for the vast majority. I think the other thing, and I'll share this with the audience, I was at a meeting on Monday morning with about 20 other leaders of veteran support organizations with the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And one thing he talked about was, and I wrote it down because I thought it was so important, is he says, I want the VA hospitals to be world-class and have other organizations measure against us.
Right.
So that's what we're driving to, not just try to meet kind of a basic standard. They want to use technology. They want to use whatever capabilities they have with AI and with technology in general, and using surveys and finding out what is needed out there to adapt and move assets to the key things. Putting more doctors and nurse practitioners on the front line versus more administrative people. It was a number of things he wanted to talk about or to get done. So I think that's part and parcel to this, because it's easy to do things the way that things always have been done.
Yeah.
It's difficult to affect change. And when you use technology, sometimes people get a little resident about that.
Yeah.
Are they really not too sure about it? And, am I going to lose some of that hands-on feel? But the important thing is that they're thinking about how they can be the very best in class, and that's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think wellness is such a, I kind of drove it into the idea of like innovation, which is like internet. And we'll talk. Harold just made a statement here, but wellness is such a large discussion, right? There's a lot here to be talked about.
Well, and it's stuff. It's simple things too. It's like diet and stretching and physical fitness and some of these things that you could do online and take a course and talk to other people about it in a small group setting, kind of like what we're doing here. And get a lot out of that. And if they can do that at scale using technology, that's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. Walter says, so many citizens cannot comprehend how imperative healthcare we earned is to our success as humans attempting to acclimate to citizenship from service. Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for anybody to understand the basis. Again, there's a process to decide what that care looks like. But at the end of the day, it's all humans need care of some sort. We all need healthcare associated. Just in the line of work that we were all in the military as veterans, oftentimes it's much different than, our counterparts. So there are things that happen in service. You get connected service-connected injuries and things like that
Mhm.
are going to need healthcare as you leave service. This is a natural. This is not anything out of the norm. So that's a good comment, Walter, from your
Yeah, thank you.
perspective. Okay, we got Dave here also. Dave said, so how do we get this? I have a neurology appointment. It looks like his first appointment is April of 26. So Dave, part of this, what we're doing right now is it's almost, I think as a team, we're trying to gather the data, right? So first and foremost, we need you to get involved. We need your feedback. You can contact us at info@missionrollcall.org. It's more about hearing your story, understanding where you're at. I think we looked at neurology when we did our assessment. One of the staff members, it looks like he's on Meta. If one of you guys can post up the access to care page so you can go and read that. And Dave, basically what you're going to see on that page is we have a difference between primary care and then your specialty care, and you'll see the time, and there's maps on there and everything. Like we basically took all the VA information, we plopped it into here, as well as the sister organizations to look and see what that healthcare looked like. So I would ask you, go look at that. Send us your information, give us some feedback, take the surveys and stuff from us, and it's going to help us greatly as we continue to do that. Jim, you got any comments on that?
Yeah, I think sharing that information from all of the folks that are following us about challenges they have, taking those polls and sharing that and that story is important, because I think, that's what affects change. I remind everybody to the discussion we just had on the first bullet, which is the Access Act.
Yeah.
Having that data shaped opinions in that process, as well as a number of advocacy things that we're working. And there's a whole host of advocacy work for 2026
That's right.
that we're going to need help with. And I think overwhelmingly having that information, when people see 75%, 80%, sometimes 90% of veterans say this, that gets attention in decision makers and in people that are writing these bills. See, that's the thing we're skating. That's the puck we're skating to. It's one thing to react to a bill when it already comes out and then try to adjust it. I think what we've been able to do is build this reputation that we don't come in with an agenda. We come in with data. So now we're being asked to be part of the process as they're baking the pie versus when the pie comes out already baked. And that's key. That's a game changer, because now we can affect the legislation in the beginning. And that's important. So,
well, at least give them the data, right? Like I think that's the important
exactly.
part.
And so at least they can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You may not agree every time with the outcome of decisions. I mean, that's the art of compromise. But if you know that at least your voice was heard and that it was taken into account, and these were the criteria that they made the decision, well, at least you've been involved with the process, and that's what we're trying to do. So the more we can do that, the better off we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Roger, if you could do me a favor, Harold, thank you so much for this recommendation. We'll maybe in January, Roger, if we can throw this question up, basically Harold says we need better access to free internet for veterans so we can attend telehealth appointments. So just to kind of give a little bit of, Jim, for you and I to kind of go back and forth. I remember the first team meeting we had where we all kind of talked about the future of MRC, and we were talking about this idea of like how should we as an organization impact veterans and their families, right? And everybody very, very quickly pushed really hard towards this idea that we need to be virtual in nature. We need to go to them. We don't need to make them come to us. So how do we do that? One of the things that was funny, well, not funny in that meeting, was that it was the first time that we learned that there was a very large amount of veterans that don't have what we would call baseline internet.
Right.
So baseline means, I don't know what the actual term is, but like, it's basically, you can go and you can search on the internet and it's going to pop up in an acceptable amount of time, right? The majority of folks don't have internet at all. The internet they have is spotty, like all of those type of things. Right. So I wonder from your perspective, how do you do that with the wellness? Like we're talking about the innovation. Is there a way that we can help with that, or a way that we can shed light to that?
Yeah. Well, and you're right. I do remember being
Yeah.
surprised by the number of folks that were unable to have the ability to download a video or to get on a conference call, right? I mean, they were just basic, if any, kind of.
Yeah, because we were just talking about surveys and stuff. Because the important
Right,
part was we're like, hey, we're talking 18 million veterans, and then like,
right,
and you start chipping this down, and you go, oh, well, there's 9 million in the VA, but then like this other 9 million, we're all like, well, what are they doing? And then
right.
you start to realize, well, like there's a huge amount of those that don't have internet. Like they don't even have a way to do that. You
Yeah.
know?
No, it is a great point, and I think it's something that at the very least we have to try to figure out what is the actual number, what is the impact, what's the number of veterans and their families that don't have this ability to do telehealth, and then then couple that with, well, what percentage of veterans believe we should have telehealth, which I can tell you right now is going to be a high number.
Yeah.
And I think sharing that with the VA, I would be surprised if the VA doesn't know this is an issue. But what we'll try to do then is bring a solution. I think that's one of the things we try to do as an organization with your voice is to say, this is what we've heard and this is what they want. Here's some ideas of how to do that. Because it's easy, as you know, to walk into the boss's office and say, hey, I don't like X. Okay, great. But what would you do? I don't know. Okay, well, bring an idea to the problem, bring a solution to the problem. I think that's what we would try to do is there a way that service providers can work with the VA to provide that service gratis to veterans that can't get it? Is there some other way to some kind of mobile device that can be set up in different locations so veterans can get to it to do this, any number of things. But I think bringing that information to decision makers at the House Veterans Affairs Committee and the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and local. I mean, what we always have a tendency to talk about what's going on in DC. And one of the things we've been thinking very hard about is how to expand what we're doing in the states at their level. So this would be, to me, looking at the states that have that highest number of folks that are not connected and figure out a way to do that, and working with partners to do it, and working with other veteran support organizations.
That's right.
And that's why we have our resource directory, so that we can kind of work together on this sort of thing. I don't know if we have anybody on the resource directory. I don't think we do, that focuses on connecting veterans. I don't know. I mean, that would be something for us to take a look at.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's a great question. It opens up a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And you and I love, I mean, nobody take this as like we're moving 100% in a direction, but this is the, we're stirring, we're trying to figure out how to solve problems. This is part of the problem solving process, right? Is you find a problem, you guys are bringing it up, and now we want to have a discussion about it.
And one thing I've learned is that if the problem is, if we're hearing about it, it's a difficult one because somebody else would have solved it.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I just did a Google search that you can't hold these numbers, right? Because I mean, it is AI. I do remember it being a fairly large, but basically according to the FCC, and this is back in 2019, it's about 10 to 15% of veteran households do not have internet. So like when you just put that number, I mean, it was a fairly large number back then. So like that is not a small number. And then when we start getting into veterans that live in, areas that like, Western North Carolina or Western Virginia, these places that are just completely out, it all starts to add, right? So anyway, great to bring up. Thank you so much, Harold, for that. And we'll add that to our list of things to look at. Meredith, thank you so much. We're happy to do these. We appreciate you guys for giving us your voice and obviously allowing us to do it. So thanks for being here today. Courtney, thank you so much as well. Love that. And then Martin, the team, got a very smart team, right? Sometimes Jim and I just wonder what we actually do here. And that's what, any good team does for you is they work hard. One of our team members, Jason, we moved in 2026 and we talked about growth and getting out in the community and figuring that out. And he actually has worked through that to get a couple Starlink systems so that we can go have events out. That's in tandem right now with Mountain Valor, which is in Virginia, kind of Western Virginia. to be able to get these surveys and stuff in person. So you guys will start to see us on the road a little bit more because we need the voices, just to be clear. So anyway, but thanks for that, Martin. I appreciate it. We're going to skip. Well, let's do this. Let's do a sneak peek, Jim, because we love doing sneak peeks around here. Every time we do one of these, Jim, somebody's asking, how can we get involved, right? Like what can we do? How can we be part of the team? And one of the things that we started on was like, hey, we need to create a location to do volunteering. Well, here's the thing. Most organizations, the way they do volunteering, you and I know this, is you're volunteering for the organization, and we're going to do cool things and everything else. We just like to do things a little bit different here. We don't like to stick to the same. So instead of doing it just like that, we're going to be doing the Veteran Connection Network. So our 80 plus coalition partners now that we're working with, and that list continues to grow, and it will continue to grow. This will be for events, and it's going to be for volunteering events. So event could be, you got a concert in your hometown. We're going to have that type of stuff on here, and we're going to be doing volunteering opportunities. And again, we want to be in the local communities. I wish MRC could do all of this, but we learned a long time ago that that's not the way we want to approach it. We want to approach it in a sense where we're working with, through, and collaborating with all the folks that are out there impacting in the local community for veterans and their families. So instead, we want to do it this way, and we want to give a hub. That's one of the things that we talked about. Jim, I just wanted to ask you, I know this is one of the things we talked about right off the bat. We need a hub. We want something where veterans leaving service can find, like if they're going to Colorado, we want to make sure, in Colorado, the places that you can go, and we're slowly getting there. But I would love to get your thoughts on that service, after service of veterans, and then of course the VSO MPO focus of what the volunteer event system is going to be.
Yeah, we talked real early in the process of standing this up, and in the months and years that we've been moving here, is that service to service is important. And by that, I mean, everyone that joins the military joins to serve something bigger than themselves. And then when they come out of that, sometimes that's missing. And service is important, and they want to continue that, but sometimes it's hard to connect. You've moved to a different community. You're not with the organizations that you were with before, and it's not that easy. This hub makes it easy. You can go there, you can get your pals together, you can reach out to your neighbors and say, hey, this is something I want to, or maybe it's just your family. You want to do something over the holidays to give back. You can go to this and take a look and see how you can volunteer. And if you can't, maybe it's something you just want to support financially. So rather than standing up a new program when we have so many other great veteran support organizations across the country, and we learn about new ones every day, and we've been doing this for years, you can imagine the learning curve for somebody who's just getting out of the service, or somebody who's just now said, hey, now I'm not working 100%. I've retired. I want to give back. I want to get involved, or I have some time to do it. This is a great way to do it because we've vetted those organizations. We've worked with them. They want to get involved with this, and it's geographically feasible for you to go in there and say, oh, this is right down the road. I can get involved with it. Or at the end of the year, when you're thinking about giving financially to an organization, you go, okay, that's one I can get behind, and you can support it. So I think it's a great way to build on the DNA that and the ethos that all of us have when we're on service, and that is you want to make things better than when you found them. That's and right. You want to be around people that want to give back, and this is a great way to get involved and maybe affect the next generation by bringing your kids in there, or nephews That's or right. nieces, and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's great. And I really applaud what Leah and Val have done with this, and they've taken ownership of it and are driving it forward.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And the good part is it's both events and volunteering. So thanks
for highlighting.
Yeah, that's a great. So there's a reason for you to go there and do that. And I love what you said there, Jim. It's like the ethos of, we're all on the same team. Let's make impact together. We will continue to say that until we are no longer here to say that, because I know we believe that, and we'll continue to do it. And we're very thankful for those that continue to align with us and give us an opportunity to promote what they're doing at the local level, because we need them. There's no way 18 million veterans, a lot of veterans. MRC is never going to be big enough, nor are all of the nonprofits going to be big enough to support all 18 million of those, right? You need specialties like specialty care. I don't want to go to a foot doctor to be looking at my heart, man. I mean, you can if you want, but I'm good. Like,
and I think basically most people want to give local. They want to get involved locally. And so this is a way to do that. Right. I mean, there's great national organizations such as ourselves and many others that you can get behind. But, if you want to be able to drive there and get involved and see what the impact is, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, the next thing, another sneak peek, Jim, because usually we'll wait until the end of the year, really like the beginning of the year, we throw out the impact report. We're not going to put the impact report out today. What we are going to do is we're going to talk about the advocacy. So, our main focus with the amazing team that we have, Mike leads that effort with you. I mean, you guys are the ones that are out there, all the rest for support, right? Trying to grab that data based off the voices and research and everything else. But this year we've been out, and I know Mike has spent a lot of time, and I wanted to, Nate, if you can scroll down just a little bit so we can see these. So just from access to care this year, and for those that can't read it, I'll read it for you. But what we've done and kind of focused on, so I like to call it advocacy in action. Here, Jim, you had an opportunity to testify in front of Congress in support of HR 740. Just stay right there, Nate. You don't have to move any. We advocated for expanded community care and innovative treatment options like HBOT, which you can go to the website. We've got lots of articles about HBOT, the impact that it's having and some of that stuff. We backed by 79% of veterans support per MRC polling. That means, you veterans and families, come in and said, hey, we need better access to care. We need these things. We did it. And most importantly, we were cited in the Milcon VA committee discussion as part of the fiscal year 26 appropriations. And when we say we were cited, that's you also. That's the veteran. That's the one that gave us your voice. So if you're thinking like, how do we get more involved? First and foremost is the surveys, right? Just getting those there. So just talking about access to care, Jim, these little focus areas, which is really kind of how do you think we did this year?
I mean, it far exceeded my expectations, and I think everybody's expectations, because the legislative process is designed to be slow. Yeah. And that's good and bad. What we've been able to do using your voice is make sure that the emphasis is going to things that are important to veterans, and getting oxygen treatment is important for a lot of folks that are dealing with a lot of medical issues, and it's making a difference in people's lives. Yeah. And access to healthcare, we've talked about a little bit, all important things that I think, because people hearing what veterans are talking about, it's making a difference. And it's really using the left and right hand is how we've kind of gone at it. It's not only providing the information to key legislators, key decision makers, the ones that are writing the bills, but it's also sharing that information with media so that they can broadcast it, they can report on it and share it. And those things are symbiotic, because it brings light to these things that otherwise would be put in a dark hole somewhere. It brings value to it. And then it reinforces what we talked about earlier with Britt, then telling the personal stories of the impacts that we're hearing about. That just brings it all together. That's a cement that binds this all together. It's the data, it's the human interest story, and then providing what the impact is at a national level. That's powerful.
Yeah. And I've got to continue to give our thanks to Mike. Mike has been a one person show, right, with you here. We just recently started looking at, hey, can we bring somebody to kind of help with the administrative side of this, because there's a lot that we want to do. So for me, Mike knows that we appreciate him, but I think for those that are listening, you can sometimes get lost that we've got a team of 20 people that are pushing advocacy into things, and this is an oiled machine. It's not perfect, nor should it be. We don't want it to be perfect, right? We want the teams to make mistake. We got to figure out how to make this better. So we push for that. But Mike has done an unbelievable job of listening both sides, listening to veterans, listening to VSOs, MPOs, and then listening to our leaders to help thread that and to provide them what they need to make the right decisions based off of what the staff are giving them in veterans. I applaud them for the effort, and I can't wait to see what 2026 comes, because that's just one area, right? So let's talk about this next one, Jim, that we had. So the next one we talk a little bit. This one was about housing. So we had an opportunity this time. Expanding access to home care. This is based on the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, which is Public Law 119-31, which basically helps veterans remain housed as costs continue to rise, right? Like this is one of the difficult parts of what we do, is we want homelessness to go away, right? Like this is one of the things that we consistently keep coming into. And we know that the financial instability can sometimes lead to, there's lots of things that can lead, but we know that this is one of them. So the other parts of this was reducing barriers created by high interest rates. And then, of course, stabilizing at-risk mortgages. So, Jim, I don't know if you have any comments on this. I know this is one of those that we're still working through this process. This thing's in place, but there's a lot to be said here just with finance. And
so much work to be done here. You could easily just focus an organization just on this one subject alone.
Right.
When you talk about the number of homeless, 30,000+ across the country, and that number's not accurate. We know it's off because we don't know what the number is.
That's right.
And of course, it's different in every state, and there's impacts in every state. But the fact of the matter is that the home ownership is increasingly out of a lot of people's reach, and making sure that veterans receive the best loans at the lowest interest rate and some guarantees on how to do that is important. And that's what we've been able to do, and work with other VSOs in this regard as well, and bring awareness to it. I did a number of interviews in the national press and on media about this subject. And I guess I'm shocked that people are shocked. They don't know the size of this, but everyone walks away going, wow, we need to do a better job as a country.
Yeah.
So I think it's about continuing to build awareness and then momentum on bills and support that's going to fix the scourge. And that's what it is. Yeah. And understanding, and I would ask everybody to go to the site of Left of Clinical and read that article that Mike put together. He authored that. Mike Desmond on our team. You just don't magically wake up one day and become homeless. There's a process that happens along the way, and there, by the grace of God, any of us could have fallen into that crack.
That's right.
Right? You lose the job that you had, or you couldn't find the job you had, and then your car broke down, and then this happened, and that happened, and then before you know it, you're out of way. And you don't have the support. And in the numbers of homeless doesn't take into account, by the way, folks that are sleeping on a couch in their brother's apartment or their mom's house, or ones that are living in a car. So we have a lot of work to do and bring awareness to this. And we need to get the whole community to support this and understand it, because I think all of us know that problems just don't magically get solved.
Yeah.
Problems get fixed if we fix them.
That's right.
There's not a they, it's an us. How do we fix this? And that's some of the things we're looking at.
Yeah. And it's interesting because every time I talk to Mike, even with him focusing on this, and this just being one, I mean, this is one piece of legislation about one thing, but you always see things spiral. Part of it, you said it at the beginning, is kind of like this education and informing process, right? I think every day I learn. I'll tell this story real quick. I sent Mike a YouTube. I'm sorry, Mike, for not replying to your email also this weekend, but I sent him a YouTube link, and his reply back was spot on with my thinking of like, there's just an education and information gap between the veteran that's making the video and then the VA that's putting out the data and trying to get these two to like talk. And it's not just the VA, it's the government in general, right? Like, anything, like it's like going on post trying to figure out where the ID card facility is. You're like looking around going, I think it's in this thing. Hey, do you know where the ID card? I'm pretty sure it's over on such and such, right? Like even people that are there on that installation don't sometimes know where it's at. So I think that with all of these, what we're learning is the more information we have, the more research, the more data that we have from veterans and their families, the more we can understand it. But that doesn't mean that we're experts at it. It just means that we now have a better understanding to provide the best data that may be related to the situation or the issue that's at hand. And I think Mike and team have done a really good job of asking those questions to do. All right, Nate, let's throw up this last one. And for everybody, we're going to be probably ending here in just a little bit. We usually move into questions here at the end. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them up. We're more than happy to answer those as we have these. Nate, can you scroll up on this one, please, for me? So this one was an interesting, yeah, that's good. Just food and financial security, just that part there. So what I found on this one, Jim, I was reading through this one, trying to figure out, this one is such a difficult thing. I mean, you and I talked about this with when we were in a military support organization, which was focused on active duty. And we talked about this idea of there just being problems with food and financial insecurity in general. Okay, you can scroll down just a little bit, Nate, so we can see those. I think this year we thought that like we knew we had answers and all of that. And you really start, again, diving into this thing and you start realizing, man, this is a problem. But we did do this year, though. MRC shared polling data with key congressional offices to underscore the need for targeted legislation attention, especially as it relates to both of those. Polling data was also used to educate and inform debate on reforms to improve veteran access to food assistance, financial literacy resources, and transition support programs. Findings from MRC April 2025 Food Insecurity Poll and 2024 Impact Report helped position food and financial security as a top-tier veteran priority. I look in life and there's just things that you need. There's things that you need to live, right? We know air, right? You got to have air. We need food and water, right? And then you need somewhere to be safe. Now, like what that safe means, we could debate that for hours in here, but just somewhere where it gets you out of the cold and somewhere it gets you out of the heat.
Shelter.
You know what I mean? Somewhere, shelter. So I'd love, Jim, I know you're very passionate about this. I've seen you talk about the food insecurity portion of this a lot. Of course, you have daughters that are in the military. I'd love to just get your thought on this for both, military in general, and then of course, veterans.
Yeah, I get pretty incensed by it. So I'll try to keep it level-headed. 1 in 4 active duty military have food insecurity issues. And the stat that we had, if you remember, the government shut down 97% of veterans. So overwhelming numbers, right? Said they're concerned about the shutdown and not being able to get food, not being able to get access to healthy food. It's a big problem. We've asked people to serve the country, and now they're worried about being able, during a shutdown, to be able to do the things they need to do, right? To keep their family fed, put gas in the car, pay for child care, all those sort of things. It has been a systemic problem. If people look it up, the numbers of active duty and veterans are pretty close, 1 in 4, 1 in 5. It's 1 in 4 active duty and 1 in 5 in veterans, if I'm correct, suffer from food insecurity issues. And so that's something we need to fix as a country. And so we're going to bring awareness to this. We're going to bring it to light. We've always hit on it in a number of interviews across the board to make sure it doesn't get out of the discussion at the national level. I remember, and I'm dating myself, right? 40 years ago, as a young lieutenant in my first assignment, and we had to pass the hat for some soldiers in the unit during the holidays to make sure they had enough money to get Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner and things like that. That's still going on. Yeah. That's still a problem. So we need to make sure that all of us that have come from that ilk, we want to make sure it's a little bit better for those that follow us. And that's what this is all about. A lot of these things take time to fix. And so we have to stay resolute and resilient to make sure that we continue to move forward on these subjects so that it gets solved. And to me, there needs to be a baseline above a certain level of poverty to make sure that active duty are getting paid so that they can get the resources that they need to feed their families. And if anybody disagrees with that, then they shouldn't be following us, right?
Yeah.
And they certainly shouldn't be in elected office. So we're going to do our best to keep highlighting that and pushing that. It's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth said it here. No reason that a veteran should be worried about their next meal. I mean,
Right.
it's I agree. You know,
Yeah.
the only reason that they may worry about it is it's on them, meaning that they have chosen, and we believe in choice, right? I mean, at the end of the
Right.
day, we're all grown-ups as well.
Right.
But I should not be having to worry about that. So this is something we'll continue to monitor. It's just something that we see. We know you've obviously got your family that's serving right now, Jim. So I know it'll continue to be something that we worry about. And homelessness isn't going anywhere. And usually it's that crowd that's usually the ones that are probably having the hardest time.
It's hand in
right?
hand.
Yeah. So, okay. Scott made a comment. Good old Scott. How are you, buddy? I hope you're doing well, man. You and the family. Merry Christmas to you guys and New Year. He says this data is invaluable, but also for monitoring change, not just making change. Once improvements are made, it's just as valuable that show how much has improved. Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things in any large organization. And I think the VA is looking at that right now. A good idea becomes a program, and then a program becomes a department, and then the department becomes who knows what. Then they have another department. So we have to make sure that when you add things, you adjust things, right? And you make sure that things that are doing well get resourced, and those things that aren't doing well or don't get resourced.
That's right.
So I think you're exactly right. We got to measure these things and make sure that they're hitting the mark and exceeding expectations, because that it's important to do so.
Absolutely. Okay, just a couple admin things, and then Jim, I'm going to kick it over to you. So for the next town hall, everybody, it's going to be January 21st, 12 p.m. CST or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So same location wherever you guys are watching it now. We'll put the events up. We can't do this without each of you coming here. It's the reason that we show up every single day. I've got a smile on my face because I know we're going to impact somebody, right? And know that in our time, we have done a lot to impact people. And that's why we're here. There is no other reason than to do that. So we're thankful for each one of you. We're thankful that you guys continuously keep showing up to these. Please spread the word, right? We need 10,000, 100,000, 1 million veterans that are putting their voice. We're not changing your poll answers. Look, this is unbiased. We're handing it off to the right people to make sure that they can make the right decisions to impact all of us the right way. So the greater that community gets, the better things will be for all of us. And hopefully one day we can all look back and smile. Mission Roll Call may no longer be here because we've done our part, and all of these issues have gone away. And that's what we're pushing towards, but we need your help. So Jim, I know we're going into the Christmas season. I want to kick it over to you before I kind of say some final words here.
Yeah. First of all, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah to all of you. And I hope you have time to spend those days with family and friends. And I hope you have a joyous season. I would ask, as we then go into the new year, if all of us can think of about a couple goals that we want to do for the next year when it comes to what we're all talking about, and that's veterans issues. And I would ask you to make sure that you get on our list, you get our polling information, you get some of the data that we're pushing out. The second thing would be go to our resource directory or in our volunteer programs and see if you can get involved, reach out to an organization and start that process of volunteering. I'll tell you, you get a lot more out of volunteering and being involved or being supportive to an organization than you'd ever would imagine. And then the other item would be just to make sure that you share this with families and friends and other military families and those that you've served with, so they know about us. Word of mouth is important, and hearing from you that we are an organization that they could get involved with would mean a lot, because those numbers mean a lot as we move into the next year and try to tackle some of these important legislative issues and programs and things of that nature in 2026. And lastly, just thank you all. We've grown exponentially, and we've taken a lot of joy in serving our brothers and sisters, and we're going to continue to do that in the year to come.
Absolutely. Jim, thank you so much. For everybody there, we wish all of you a happy holidays. We cannot wait to get into 2026 and continue to do our part to impact you and, of course, your families. So from our team to each of you and your families,
Happy holidays.
we love it. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next year.